you go. Girl, you know.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome, and if not, what's up, bunnies? How's it going? So today's video is going to be a hot ass mess, okay? So if you want to hear a hot ass mess, just watch until the end of the video, okay? This week we are going to be talking about my worst date ever. Bitch, my worst date ever. Of course, I'm a girl, so I've had many bad dates, but there is no worse date than the date that I'm gonna tell you in this video. So like I said, if you guys wanna hear this hot mess of a story, make sure to watch to the end of the video and make sure to like, comment, and subscribe and ring the notification bell so you guys are always notified when I upload. I upload every single Monday and I put out shorts every single day. So with that being said, let's get to the story. Now, baby, like I said, I have been on plenty bad dates, but there is just nothing like this date that I went on. I mean, just from meeting the person to scheduling the date to being on the date and then everything that happened after the date, it was just a mess. And God bless his soul. You know, I'm definitely not trying to, you know, poop on somebody in this video, but this is my story. Okay, this happened to me, and this is something that I think about, you know, maybe like once every couple or whatever, just to be like, God damn, what a terrible experience. Oh my God. But before we get started, I want to present to you guys my sponsor. Guys, you guys know, I'm such a small channel, so I do not have any sponsors, but I do have a scent oil company, and so I'm my own sponsor. Okay, so with that being said, I want to introduce my sponsor, NomixCo. NomixCo is my scent oil company that I just launched in October. I am so excited. Thank you to everybody who has already supported the business. She is a scent oil, okay? This particular scent that I have is called, oh, it smells good. That's what it's called. It's called It Smells Good. But no, it's called Velour. It smells so good. It smells very floral. Honestly, I put this on and I feel flirty. It's just, it just smells absolutely so good. This is literally the only fragrance that I use. It's a roll-on oil. So all you gotta do is just roll it on your wrist like that. Get that together. And then I like to just put a few dabs like right there. And then if I'm feeling frisky, a little bit right there. But we're gonna have to rub that in a little bit, but you guys get the concept. It's so soft, it's so pink, it's so feminine. I absolutely love this scent. So if you guys want to try this scent for yourself, make sure to go to NomixCo.com and use promo code NomixCo20 for 20% off your entire order. So thank you to NomixCo for sponsoring this video, and now on to the story. All right, y'all, let's not waste any more time. Let's get to it. So I met, let's call him for the video, let's call him Chris. Okay, we're gonna call him Chris for this video. I don't think I've used the name Chris at all in any of my videos so far, so we're gonna say Chris. The guy's name is Chris. So I meet Chris on Hinge. I should have stopped there. Why am I on Hinge? Why am I on a dating site, period? Like, why am I there? Honestly, you guys, I'm not a big fan of dating apps. Don't get me wrong, there are a lot of people who are like, I met my soulmate on Hinge, so I'm not talking about those people. But I'm talking about all the other people. Majority of, I think, people, the population, when it comes to dating apps, the success rate is just not there. And I'm one of those people, and this is my story. So yes, I meet Chris on Hinge, and honestly, like I do with any guy that I would swipe on or talk to, I'm not really like about it. I'm just like, okay, yeah, there's another guy that swiped on me. Okay, I think he's attractive. I'll swipe back on him. Oh my God, look at that, we're a match. All right, he sends me a message first, and I send him a message back. But throughout those text threads, I'm like, okay, you know, I'm kind of feeling this guy. I already noticed in his personality that he was funny, and I love funny men. I'm a funny girl, so I need a funny man that I can kiki and cat with, okay? Like, we need to be cackling together, okay? So whilst I was talking to him, just in that first message thread on the app, I was like, okay, you know, still, obviously I'm not, you know, there's no attachment or anything. I don't know this man, but I can, you know, I'm clocking that. Okay, he's funny. I thought he was handsome. I liked what he did for a living. He's also in the music industry. There's also a part of me that doesn't like people who are also in the music industry, because I did that before. And there's a lot of ego. I dealt with one that was a narcissist. The story that I was talking about last week. He was an artist. If they're insecure, they compare. It's just too much. So I'm like, you know what? Maybe I need to be with like a chef or something. Like maybe I need to be with, you know, I need to be with like an economist or a scientist or something. I need someone who is completely the opposite of me, okay? We don't need our careers intertwining with each other than the businesses that we set together, and that's a whole nother story. Anyways, so after our conversation through Hinge, I think we used Hinge for a few days. When I was using dating apps, I'm someone who likes to get to the point. I'm not going to be your pen pal for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, because I feel like that is what brings attachment. If you're talking to someone day in and day out for many days, many weeks, whatever, and you guys haven't met, I just feel like it's a waste of time, because then what happens if now you're attached because you've been talking to this person, this stranger, and then you go on a date and it's absolutely terrible? Then it's just like, fuck, I wasted all of this time. When no, if I met you on Monday, this is literally my motto. If I met you on Monday, our date is on Friday. Okay, and that doesn't even necessarily mean we're talking, you know, on text message or on phone call or like in and out the day. You know, we'll text in periods, but I should be texting you Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and then our date is going to be on Friday. That's how I like to do things. If I'm texting you and then I like your energy, okay, then let's go to the date. And then if we do the date and it doesn't turn out right, okay, cool. Or if it does turn out right, let's go on another date. Let's keep this going. Literally, that's how it was. We text Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Throughout that time, we had made our date set to Friday. So cool. He was doing all the right things. I'm another person too that's like, you do have to be talking to me every day or I will lose interest. And also, if you set a date and you're not talking to me throughout the week, I'm gonna just think that you're not interested anymore, and then I'm not interested. So no, I don't know why guys be trying to act like they can set a date, not talk to you, and then you're just gonna be up and ready for them. I don't understand it. I don't get it. I don't want to get it, but it's not for me. So yes, Friday comes. He was talking to me throughout the day, you know, said, are you gonna meet me here? We made a place, we made a time. Okay, cool. So I'm getting dressed for this day. I look hot as hell. I look hot. If I could find a video or a picture of me in the dress that I wore, I'll put it there. Love that dress. Love that dress. Love how my body looks. I love how I feel. Everything is snatched. I'm just feeling good about this. Only thing though is that the restaurant that he picked was going to be closer to his house, and I'm not really a big fan of that. His house was in the valley. He picked a place that was in the valley. I'm not in the valley. I would have to drive, you know, a few extra minutes that I would like, but honestly, the place that he ended up picking, and also he picked it, and I like that because I'm not picking the restaurant. You ask me out on a date, you better have the place. You can, okay, here's the thing, men out there, people, I don't know. If you ask someone on a date, what you do is you ask them questions about themselves, okay? Throughout those questions, throughout that communication, you end up finding out a few things about that person. So when they tell you the kind of food that they like, your job is to then look for places. I'll say 3 places. Get 3 places of the kind of food that they like. If she's like, oh my God, I love Italian food, is just going crazy about Italian food, your job is then to go on Yelp, to go on Google, to go on whatever, and find 3 different Italian places and wine and dine her. Make sure that the places is not Olive Garden. Like, make it something worthwhile, where something that has like dim lighting, something sexy. You want to set the mood, okay? Woo her. Damn. And that's my little PSA for the day. And so, you know, I ended up going with the place that he picked because honestly, he had done what I just said. You know, he had remembered the kind of food that I liked. And I mean, it's just how I carry myself and how I talk about myself. He knew to take me to a place that was going to be fine dining. So when I saw the place that he wanted to go to, I'm like, all right, I'll drive a few extra minutes. The place was fabulous. I've been there before. I'll go there again. I knew that we would enjoy ourselves. So unfortunately though, and I do not condone this, honestly, I was a little late. Traffic ended up being worse. And honestly, that's another reason why I didn't want to go the fuck to the valley. If you're from LA, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The valley is far from everything. I don't want to go up there. There's something always happening with the goddamn freeway. Okay, but you know what? Even though I'm not a big fan of people being late, the way that you will win me over is if you communicate that. So what do you think I did? I text him and I let him know I'm so sorry. Traffic is this, and this, and I'll be there at this time. And he was like, absolutely no problem. I'll be sitting at the bar. I'll be waiting for you. Ah! Perfect. So when I finally get there, I find parking. I walk up. Like I said, I'm feeling sexy. I'm looking great. Feeling snatched. I'm ready to eat. I'm ready to date. I'm ready to like. Okay, let's go. I walk in. He's sitting at the bar and he looked good too. He turned around and I was like, you know, looked like his pictures. I looked like my pictures. This was a good meeting. Okay, we're doing good so far. He was a gentleman. He took me by hand to the table. You could tell that this is a place that he either goes to often or he just ended up knowing a lot of people who were there. And actually later on, come to find out, he actually worked there when he was like a struggling artist, and he was a waiter there, and that's why he had known the staff and he had known people and all of that stuff. So I was like, oh, well, that's good for you. Look at you. This is where you came from and you want to come here to dine, and look where you are now. This is amazing. So we sit down, we look at the menu. Mind you, it's fine dining, so there are no prices. There are no prices next to the food, okay? All it's gonna say is the food, the ingredients, and that's it. Okay, that's fine dining. That's fine dining for you. I'm aware of this. He's aware of this. So just put that in your pocket. Okay, just remember that. So as soon as we sit down, I mean, I really dug his personality. He was very boisterous. He was very funny. He was very forward, and I like that. Not forward in like an aggressive way or in a bad way. Just, you know, you could tell he was a man who like just took charge, knows who he is, and is like the big man on campus. He was giving very much that vibe, and honestly, I didn't mind it. I am a very big, boisterous person myself. So honestly, I felt like I met my match, and I was here for it. You better command attention, and everybody's obsessed with it. Yes. So we ended up deciding to do like a 3-course meal. So we got an appetizer, we got our entree, and then we got dessert. But with that being said, you know, we needed drinks. So I ordered a drink, he ordered a drink, and we just started with that. As we're sipping on our cocktails and as like the appetizer comes out, I'm digging this man. I'm like, okay, you know. I like how he talks. I like what he's talking about. We kind of have a lot of things in common. We kind of like want to do the same things and go to the same kind of places. And I'm just like, okay, he's checking off some marks, but don't ever get it twisted. I'm still peeping game and I'm still keeping it cute, but you know, I'm just taking notes. Like, okay, he's all right. I'm not mad at this. So by the time that, you know, we've had our first drinks, we have appetizers, now we have our entree. And at this point, I think me and him are on like our second drink. At this point, I was drinking. I am sober now. So big claps for me. Me and drinking don't go well together. You know, that's a whole story for another day. But when I was drinking, it was someone who I can have like 4 drinks and be fine. I can have 4 margaritas and be absolutely fine and not look drunk, not sound drunk. It's not going to impair anything, you know, I'll be fine. And I ended up finding out whilst on this date that he was the same way. So at that time, I thought that was a fun thing. You know, I'm like, oh, look at us, you know, we could slam down. You know, he was drinking like an old fashioned. I was drinking like my little flirty, fruity drinks or whatever. And we were just having a good time. So we have our entree, we have our second drink. Now we're both on our third drink and we're on like our dessert. This whole date at this point, we probably have been sitting there for an hour. Like I said, I mean, he was checking off all the boxes. I was just really enjoying the date. And honestly, I was kind of shocked. Like, mind you, I have been through some bad dates, and too, at that time, I wasn't looking for love or anything like that. Honestly, I was just looking for but if someone wants to take me on a date, then that's what we're gonna do. You know, I was kind of like one foot in hot girl summer and then another foot in, I'm still in Aries, I'm still a lover girl. Okay, I'm still gonna be a hopeless romantic, not hopeless, but hopeless romantic, you know, but not hopeless. So I actually stopped at 3 drinks, and at this point, child, I mean, just set the scene. The place that we were at was absolutely beautiful. We were in the cabana area. The food was amazing. The ambiance was amazing. The drinks were flowing. We were digging each other. I mean, I was a little googly-eyed, but like I said, I still kept it together because a man is still gonna be a man, okay? And we got to keep that wall up here, ladies, just to let you know. So like I said, I stopped at 3. He ended up getting another drink. At that point, we've consumed all of our food. You know, we're just vibing. We're vibing at this point. It's not like we have a time limit here. It's not like it's this long line and people are waiting and we're just, you know, holding up a table or something. Like, we're able to just be 2 grown adults enjoying our drinks, enjoying the ambiance, and just going from there. And also, like I said, he knew everybody there. So he is, once again, loud and boisterous. You know, he'll see somebody walking and he'll be like, hey, what's up? You know, and they'll be like, hey, what's up? And big man on campus. That is literally what he felt like, and he loved it. And honestly, I loved it for him. I love seeing him thrive. I love seeing people thrive. I'm a people person. It just resonated with me, and I liked that. I'll say this man was all up in my face. All up in my face in the best way. And I'm just like, yeah, eat it, smell it. Like I said, NomixCo. Eat it, smell it, it's everything. So by the time that our date is finished, we're now sitting next to each other and we just in each other's face, just kind of like romantically verbal sparring. If you guys know anything about that, it's very kind of just going like tit for tat. Like, I feel like sexy verbal sparring is like, so what? What you mean? I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, what you... It's just going back and forth. I fucking love stuff like that. That is so sexy. Like, can you go there with me? Don't back down either. Don't back. Oh, I love a man that doesn't back down. He's like, I ain't scared of you. And I'm like, I ain't scared of you. And he's like, all right. And I'm like, all right. So we finally get to the end of the date. And at this point, we both are like, okay, no, we're going to go out for ice cream or something like this. We cannot end the date. Like, no, we want more of each other. You know, at this point, I'm like, yeah, let's go get some ice cream. Like, you know, I love the dinner. Let's go get dessert. And then after that, we can part ways and then do this another time. So the waiter comes, and mind you, like I said, he's been boisterous all evening. So he also knows the waiter. So we've been, you know, kikiing with the waiter. It's just been an awesome, thick, happy atmosphere. It was great. So that waiter comes over and he gives us the bill. And it's so funny because I have been on dates before where they couldn't pay the bill or their card declined. And you know, I don't know if you've ever experienced that, but it's so humiliating. I mean, not for me, but it's just, it sucks because, you know, that person's humiliated, that person's embarrassed, they're trying to figure things out, but they're also trying to like keep it cool at the same time, but you know what's going on and they know that you know what's going on. So it's just like this just uncomfortable feeling. Like, I feel bad for you in this moment, but also what the fuck? You didn't look at your bank account before you came here? Like, so I've already been through that before. So I think just being traumatized, I'm just like, and also guys, I know I said this earlier, so let's bring it back. Mind you, these prices are not on the menu, but when you go to fine dining, you fucking know that. You don't go to fine dining being like, okay, you know, let's try this. No, you know you're gonna break bread, you know you're gonna spend money, and you picked this place, so come on, you know. And then plus, not just the 3-course meal, but also we had like 8 drinks between us, because mind you, even though I stopped at 3, he still kept drinking, okay? And I'm watching him being like, another one, not even necessarily the drinking part, but the goddamn, you know, I know how expensive an old fashioned is, so if he's ordering da-da-da-da-da, this man might have some money. Good for him. That's awesome. He could pay the bill, whatever. So like I said, you know, when he's pulling out his card, I can't help but to like, you know, look at those old moments when I have experienced card declining and kind of like having in slow motion, and I'm just like, please, Lord, like, please don't let me have this amazing date at this place. And we ordered all this food and, you know, I saw the bill. The bill was $400. I'm like, please don't let us have racked a bill, $400. And this man's card declined. Please. Please. And mind you, during the date, he was a little showboaty, but I didn't mind. He was just talking about his success and how much, not really necessarily how much money he's made, but you can correlate how much money someone has made when they tell you about the endeavors that they're experiencing, especially being in the music business. I understand how much this costs and how much that pays and all of that. I'm not trying to be in your wallet, but if you're telling me about all of these things that you do and we're at this restaurant, I'm only going to think that you're about that life. But alas, he pulls out his debit card and that shit says decline. It declined. And of course, immediately he was like, oh no, that's not wrong. Like, I literally have that. I've even had men in the past be like, no, I have the money, and they'll like pull out their phone and like try to show you their bank statement. If we gotta do all that, we have sincerely lost the plot. Sincerely lost the plot. We weren't there yet, but he was like, that's odd. Like, no, look, can you try it again? And bitch, even I've been there. Sometimes it's your bank and you know, so I kept it cute. Sipped on my drink while he's going through this. It declined again. So at this point, you know, the waiter is just like, you know, yeah, let me just give you some time. Like, she is trying to get the fuck out of here because she's just like, uh-oh, you know. And, you know, when she leaves, it becomes apparent to me that we're in a situation. We're in that situation in restaurants. Like, fuck. And this isn't Chili's, bitch. This isn't Chili's, bitch. This is a $400 bill. what is going on? So at one point he tried to do the bank statement thing, showing me, and I said, I don't, you know, and I think because I said that, he felt worse, and okay. And then after that, he ended up trying to like call his bank. But honestly, when I look back, the way he called the bank, it sounded like he was talking to a family member. So I'm going to say that he tried to call a family member, and also he was a Spanish speaker. So, and I didn't understand Spanish at that time. And he was speaking in Spanish. And I think that he was asking a family member to, you know, shoot him something real quick, so he can handle this. And then also he was telling me, you know, because artists, we get paid quarterly from ASCAP and from our publishing and BMI and all that kind of stuff. So he was also saying that too, you know, like, I know I have money coming in, and like I have money. Like he was just trying to compensate. He was just trying to do that. And the more that he did that, the deeper that his hole got. And it's just like, I don't know what to tell you, bro. And so I think he ended up exhausting all of his resources. And then I knew I would never see him again, because then he was like, I have 200 in cash on me right now. Can you just pay the other 200 and then I'll pay you back? No. No. Of course, honey. Of course I have money. Of course I have money, but I'm not paying. That's half. Then I, in theory, if I walk out this restaurant after paying $200, I have paid half of my share. And that's not a date. That's not a date. So I told him, no, I don't. I'm sorry. And y'all, I mean, I can't even stretch this story that far. All of this ended up happening in a 20-minute span. I mean, the card declined the first time. The waitress leaves. He exhausts all of his resources. Then he asks me for half. And then the waitress comes over again, like, hey, so did we figure something out? He tries another card. That card declines. So when that card declined, I was just like, okay, like, yeah, this is over. And honestly, I was a little disappointed because, you know, like I said, I was having such a great time with him. But also, this is why we don't attach ourselves, because anything can happen, and you don't want to start being like, well, I like him. And no. Just because I like you doesn't mean that we're going to be doing this. And I don't want to be a part of this. I don't want them thinking that this is the kind of person I am. And honestly, I don't give a fuck about what people think, because I know who I am. But just being there in that position, I am a part of you. Like, we are a reflection of each other. So I don't need them looking at me thinking that I'm about to die in a ditch. And honestly, just being a black person in America with that, and that's a whole other thing. I like to just keep it cute. I like to keep it cute. So at that point, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go to the bathroom. I'm going to let you figure this out, because I did genuinely have to use the restroom. So I'm just going to take this moment for you to figure out what you got to figure out, and I'll be back. I was in the restroom, and bitch, I was in the restroom for a while. I was in there for like 8 to 10 minutes. I took my time. I reapplied my makeup. I'm like, for sure, when I get out of this bathroom, that bill is going to be paid. And you want to know what? It wasn't. It wasn't. Now, not only is the initial waitress sitting and standing there with him, another waiter is over there, because they're trying to figure out, child, fine dining restaurants, they don't fucking play. Bitch, they will fucking have you in the back washing dishes. Okay? Like, and I'm like, oh, no, that's not my future. So once I sat down and I had asked him, I was like, hey, what's going on? And he looked very panicked, and he was like, yeah, you know, I'm just still trying to figure out things. And then at that point, I was just like, you know, I feel really uncomfortable. I am honestly, I wasn't trying to make him feel bad, but I can see how my words probably made him feel bad. But it was true. I was devastated. I was disappointed. I was devastated. I was sad that this was happening, and it just shouldn't have. Like, bitch, I don't leave my house to go to the corner store unless I have the money. Like, you're never gonna catch me swiping my card and I didn't check if I could afford it. Like, that is just insane to me. And I had to leave. I was literally curling up in embarrassment. And he was like, yeah, like, I completely understand. He was like, I fumbled. You know, I'm so sorry for all of this. But, you know, he was like, can I call you? I told him, yeah, because I don't want to break his heart 3 times, twice, whatever, you know? So I ended up walking out, and I was walking to my car. My car was a little bit of ways away, so I had some time to walk. I immediately call my best friend. I'm like, bitch, I basically tell her everything. I can't believe that this happened. Da, 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 da. When I'm on my way to my car, I'm so riled up from that. I literally open up my car door, put my phone with my keys and my purse in the passenger seat. I use the driver's door to unlock all of the doors. I close the driver's door. I go around to the passenger side. I locked the door. I locked the doors. So now I'm locked out of my car. Locked out of my fucking car. And it's so funny because I could see like my phone was still on and I can't hear anything, but I suppose that my friend is like, girl, hello, and then just hangs up because bitch, they don't know that I'm locked out of the car. And my keys, my phone, my purse, everything, my person was locked in the car. So I'm like, that's great. That's great. That's great. And it's so funny because out of nowhere, I had to use the restroom. And also out of nowhere, this is a little TMI, but you just have to understand the severity of this situation. I started my menstrual. And I had nothing to catch it. Okay? So now I furiously have to use the restroom, and also I may leak. We'll just say that. So now it's just like I am going through it. What am I gonna do? So I end up like a child. I've never been afraid to try to figure things out. So I end up seeing a man who is parked a few cars in front of me, and bless his heart, I think he was like German or something. I'm telling him like, hey, I locked my keys and all of my, my phone and all that stuff in my car. Like, can I please use your phone to call AAA? Because I know that all I need to do is call AAA. They'll come get my shit out and then I'll be fine. Like that's what we're gonna do. Okay, thank God for AAA. So this guy, he can barely understand what I'm saying, but I'm just like, phone, help. And so I use his phone. I end up calling AAA. They're like, okay, we'll be there in X amount of minutes. So I'm like, okay, at least I got that figured out. At least I know I'm leaving to my home tonight. Okay. But we still have to figure out everything else. So I'm realizing, I'm like, fuck, I have to go back into the restaurant because I was just there. I didn't want to go into another establishment just to use the restroom. Let me just go back in here and use the restroom real quick. But the thing with that is that I didn't know if he was still in there. All of this, like the walking to my car, locking myself out, calling AAA, all of that was like 20 minutes. So I was like, he better be gone. Like there should be no reason why he's still there. He better be gone. I was hoping that I wasn't going to see him when I walk inside, but I didn't know. So I have to walk inside to go find out if he's still there. Child, I must have walked into that restaurant and he is now at like the main podium and there are several staff around him. Several staff around him and they're all trying to figure things out. He's scratching his head. He is looking stressed. Okay. And I have to pass them to go to the restroom. So when he sees me, he's like, like, what are you doing here? And I'm like, I gotta use the restroom. I'll be, So I use the restroom, get myself together. And after that, I come out and he was like, where are you going? Da, 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 da. I was like, I just came here to use the restroom. I am on my way home. And he was like, okay, well, can I come out with you while you wait for AAA? And honestly, I'm just like, no, not really. But he's like, I have to wait because we're still figuring out things, whatever. I don't know why, but I let him wait with me. He sat in front of the restaurant and I was just like, this is a mess. At this point, I'm completely sobered up. Honestly, vagina dry. Like, I don't want to do this, but I let him plead his case, basically. And he just kept, saying all of the roundabout excuses and stuff like that. And, when he realized that I wasn't really interested anymore, but I was interested because I was talking in past tense. I'm like, damn, I liked you. And, I really thought that we were vibing because I genuinely did feel this way. So I'm going to communicate that. Like, I really thought that we, and I just wouldn't suspect you to be a liar or that, like, why do you feel the need to like floss and like do all of this and do all of that when you can't afford it? Like, that's another thing when it comes to dating. I don't like that. I don't like men who floss and do this and do that, and they know that they can't keep that up. And I'm not saying you're wrong for that. Like, I'm not saying you're a bad guy because you're lower middle class or middle class or higher. Like, I don't care. But I feel like people should date within their means because what's the difference between a woman who doesn't look like her pictures, and a man who is acting like he has a lot of money and he doesn't. All of it is catfish. And I felt fucking catfish. And also, I never asked you to do this. You're the person who wanted to talk about your life and how glamorous it is. You wanted to bring me here to a fine dining restaurant that has no prices by the food. I knew by all the food and the drinks and stuff, I knew that bill was going to be at least $300. So when it was $400, I'm just like, yeah, that kind of makes sense. And then tip and all that, you know. You knew that too. You knew that too, and you still came here ill prepared. Okay, and you put both of us in this really dangerous position. That is dangerous to not have the money to pay your bill. That is very dangerous, and I don't want anything with it. So, you know, I told him all that, and he felt bad, and he was pleading his case, and he was like, Mama, if I gotta get on my knees and beg you, like, I was like, God damn, you know. I really try to be without my ego because it's not sexy. But honestly, my ego was like, you look good down there. Scratch this out, editor. I'm literally the editor. No, scratch it out, scratch it out. But you know, this is another reason why I just have changed a little bit, because I'm a lover. I'm a lover. Okay, I do want to see the best in people. I do want to give people the benefit of the doubt, but as I got older, bitch, you fucking can't. No, see people for who they are, and especially to do something like this on a first date. Like, I'm not saying it would be better to do it on a second, third, fourth, whatever down the line, but it's something about that first date. This is first impression, and this is what happens on the first date. I don't even need pattern recognition. You did it the first time. I don't trust you that this won't happen again. And let's even think about it. Even if we did go on a second date, now I'm gonna be looking at him like, you gonna be able to pay for it? And I don't want to be that kind of person that is so shady, is so nasty. And let's just not do this then, right? And so I think like I lied to him again and was just like, yeah, you know, like I'll call you. And you know, we'll figure that out. But in the meantime, I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know if the bill was already paid, or I didn't know anything. But he was sitting out there with me. He still looked a little anxious, but I didn't question it because I didn't care. Right? Whilst we're waiting for the AAA truck to come, there's this car who passes, loops around, and then parks right in front of the restaurant. And he was like, oh my God, I'll be right back. I'm like, okay. I'm thinking that it's just like another person that he knows, because remember, he was big man on campus. He fucking knows everybody. So I thought that was just like another thing. Baby, his parents came out that fucking car. His parents came out the car, okay? So after connecting the dots, what ended up happening when I left was he called his parents to come and save him from whatever he was going through. And that was them parking in front. They looked irate. They looked so fucking mad. They're just like, and they're also Spanish speakers, so they're speaking in Spanish. I don't know what they're saying, but the tone that they're talking, it sound like he about to get his little 29-year-old ass whooped. Ridiculous. So it was very quick. They pulled up, skirt, went in, came out, and then he comes to me and he's just like, I'm so sorry. Like, I want to wait for you, but I have to go with them. And I'm like, what? What? You have to go with them? What are you talking? What is happening? You know, he told me that those were his parents, and, you know, they had just figured everything out for him, and they want him to go with them because I think that, like all of his, this is what he told me, okay? He said all of his work is kind of like in the valley or very like in close proximity. So he'll either, you know, just Uber around, or yeah, I think that's about it. He doesn't have a car, so he just Ubers around, which you have to understand too, as someone who lives in LA, having a car is like a necessity, right? Yeah, you can do public transit, but public transit in LA is not like how it is in New York, like where it's like the veins of the city. It's not fucking like that. Everybody has a car out here. So anytime I meet a man who doesn't have a car, I'm like hanging out the passenger side, but like that's just, I hate it. That's the culture, but that just is what it is. But because I have a few friends who are like this, if you got the money to not have a car, you got the money to not have a car. So when he's talking to me about the kind of life that he lives and that, you know, he doesn't drive, but he Ubers everywhere, that is just another indicator that this is someone who got it. Because bitch, I couldn't even tell you the last time I was in an Uber. Maybe like when I was drunk and partying or something like that, for obvious reasons. So, you know, he's kind of like just saying like, well, regardless, I'd have to go home anyway. And either he lives with his parents or he lives very close to his parents. But they were just like, no, we just spent money on this fucking bill. You're coming with us. And I watched that grown-ass man hop into the back seat of his parents' car, rolled down this window, and like waved to me like this as they drove away. And I'm sitting there like, wow. Wow. Ah! Wow. And then immediately, like, as they're driving away, text me, and it's just like, I'm so sorry. Like, please let me make this up to you. Da 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 da. Obviously, I don't have my phone. I don't respond. And and he knew that too, so he would know that like when I finally got into my car, that's when I'll see the message, and if I could call him, if I could text him, whatever. And I'm just like, this is a mess. Like, I literally cannot believe my life right now. Like, I literally, this is insane. Like, I cannot believe what my eyes have seen today. This is a mess. By the grace of God, my truck ended up pulling up just as quick as they left, and he opened up my door. I got my keys, I got my phone, I got my purse, and bitch, I drove home. I took a nice hot bubble bath to wash off the stank of today's escapades, and I never saw that man again. Poor Chris. Aw. And I'm telling you, I think what was so messed up about it was just how much chemistry we had. It was so amazing. I mean, obviously this was before I met my now man of my dreams. I love him so much, my little bookie butt. But I mean, you know, you're in the dating pool, you click with someone, and you think for a second like, maybe this could be. But like I said earlier in the video, you can't do that wholeheartedly, because you're gonna grow attached, and then shit is gonna happen anyway, regardless, you know, and then you're gonna start reasoning. And I don't want to reason with fucking strangers. I don't want to reason with anybody, honestly, but with a stranger, no. So thank you, Chris, for having all that happen on the first date, because, you know, that would have happened sooner or later. And I wish you the best. And the energy, you know, the conversation that we had, and the spark, and I don't deny that. That was there. That was completely real. And I appreciate you for that. You know, we should have just went to fucking Chili's then. Like, and it makes me even think about that. Like, damn, like if we did go to the Cheesecake Factory, who fucking knows? But honestly, I don't want to know, because like I said, I'm in a happy, healthy relationship. But it just goes to show, like, you can't be out here making yourself look like somebody you not, flossing, and then you get fucking embarrassed. Like, I wouldn't wish that situation on my worst enemy. Like, it's just so uncomfortable for both parties. And, you know, I just hope that he has gotten it together, and I hope that he finds a good love. I found a good love, and everybody's happy. Okay, so that is my worst date ever story. I definitely want to know in the comments what your worst date is, because I know somebody's date is worse than mine. I know that for a fact, and I want to hear it because I'm messy. Okay, so thank you guys so much for watching this video, and like I said, please like, comment, and subscribe, and push the notification bell so you guys are always notified when I upload. I upload every single Monday, and I upload shorts every single day. So until next time, au revoir.
Where'd you go?